Conduct in the City Council chambers. Rules of decorum for the public. Members of the audience shall not engage in disorderly or boisterous conduct, including the utterance of loud, threatening, or abusive language, clapping, whistling, stamping of feet, or other acts which disturb, disrupt, impede, or otherwise render the orderly conduct of the city meeting infeasible. A member of the audience engaging in any such conduct shall, at the discretion of the presiding officer or a majority of the city council, be subject to ejection from the meeting per Government Code Section 54954.3C. Removal from the council chambers. Any person who commits the following acts in respect to a meeting of the city shall be removed from the council chambers per Government Code Section 54954.3C. A, disorderly, contemptuous, or insolent behavior towards the city council or any member thereof, tending to interrupt the due and orderly course of said meeting. A breach of peace, boisterous conduct, or violent disturbance tending to interrupt the due and orderly course of said meeting. Disobedience of any lawful order from the mayor, which shall include an order to be seated or to refrain from addressing the city council, and any other unlawful interference with the due and orderly course of said meeting. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency joint regularly scheduled meeting for February 17th, 2026. City of Taft Council meetings are being held in person with full capacity seating and are live streamed at www.youtube.com/user/City of Taft. Public comment can be made in person and also can be received per the following. Written comments may be dropped off in the drop box in front of City Hall. Comments may be emailed to the city clerk at cityclerk@cityoftaft.org. They may also be made by phone to the city clerk's office at 661-763-1222. Public comments will be accepted up until 5 p.m. the day of the meeting, and all comments received shall be read into the record. We'll begin this evening's meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Waldrop, followed by an invocation from Greg Mudge. If you would stand and join me, please.
Place your hand over your heart. Salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Father in heaven, we're so thankful for this opportunity to come together tonight. And we're so grateful and thankful for this wonderful community that we've been blessed with. To have such wonderful leadership in this community that works hard to protect us and provide us with the living that we are so comfortable with, and allows us the opportunity to freely worship you and your Son, Jesus Christ. We pray, Father, that you'll work in the hearts of everyone tonight and let the love of Jesus shine through their hearts as they discuss business for this community. Guide them with the Holy Spirit. We ask this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Greg, thank you very much, sir. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Knorr,
Here.
Councilmember Cryer,
Here.
Councilmember Waldrop,
Here.
Councilmember Shavira,
Here.
and Mayor Pro Tem Bryant is absent with notice.
All right, thank you very much. First item on this evening's agenda is a study session. We actually have a couple of them. The first one is going to be a presentation by Barry Foster with Econ Solutions. Mr. Foster, if you would please, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight. My name is Barry Foster. I'm a principal and managing director with the HDL companies. I started up the division of our company almost 12 years ago to do economic development. We call it HDL Econ Solutions. At your last council meeting, you approved an agreement with us for a professional services agreement to do some economic development services, and along with retail attraction support. So I kind of wanted just to go through and kind of highlight a little bit of what we're going to do with that agreement. First of all, we actually did some work for Taft about, gosh, I think it was probably about a year and a half, maybe a year. And I think the last we did it was right before the pandemic, so it was 2019. So it's been a while since I've been up here. But so the proposal includes a scope of work, and task one is to prepare an insight market analytics package for Taft. And look at 2 different trade areas. It'll probably be the shopping center that you have down there where Albertsons is, and then kind of your downtown area. And so it'll look at all the demographics and market analytics and all that. And then the second thing we'll do then is to do a leakage analysis. So we'll look at what people that are living here are spending their money on, and then what's leaking outside your community where they're going someplace else. I always look at that as kind of as the glass half full. There are people who are spending their money, but they're not able to spend it here for whatever reason. They're having to go someplace else. And so when you're looking to try to recruit new businesses, new retailers, that's an attraction, because there's always people spending their money in those categories, but it's leaking outside your community. And that's lost sales tax revenue, which is obviously very important for a city. And then as part of that, we're also going to do a void analysis, and we're going to look at what retailers are not in Taft or in your trade area. And then we track and do work all over the state of California. And so we're going to look at where do they want to be, what kind of trade areas, what kind of markets, footprints, what kind of consumers they're looking for. And so we're going to try to come up with a list of probably 15 to 20 or maybe 25 potential retailers, restaurants, businesses that would be good fits with Taft in your trade area. And then we're going to do a retail performance assessment for Taft. We're going to look at your vacancies. I got up here a little bit early today, was able to do about a 4.5-mile run and kind of run through the downtown area. But got to see a lot of different things, and I hopped in my car and did even more today. So, I think you've got some opportunities there. You've got some challenges, and so looking at those vacancies, and then we're going to come up with some targets in terms of what we think might be some good fits for some of those areas, some of those vacancies, and then take that as a very good first step. So the compensation to do that task one is $20,000. It's a fixed fee. Task 2 is to help you do some of that retail recruitment, outreach, support services. We've done this for the last 11 years, and I think we've done it now for 32 different cities in California over time. Earlier today when we were having something to eat, city manager talked about Ridgecrest, and the city manager just retired up there. We've done work in Ridgecrest for, I think, 9 years now, and in terms of retail recruitment, had a lot of success. And I think there's a lot of comparables between Ridgecrest and Taft. And so I kind of like working for some of those smaller cities, because council members and the community, they appreciate getting those new businesses. Sometimes you work for bigger communities, they think that they can get something even better, and sometimes they're not satisfied with just trying to attract some retailers and some restaurants. But we're going to look for what's a good fits for Taft. And in Ridgecrest, we brought in the Panda Express. That was the largest opening the Panda Express has ever had, out of over 3,000 restaurants, and it was huge. And I remember when we got ready to open them up. Didn't have any advertising, a little bit of social media. They had 250 people waiting for the doors to open up. They had such a big business, they had to bring in an extra refrigeration unit and put it in the parking lot because they were pumping food in so fast there. It's stabilized, but it's still a very strong restaurant. And so we've done, also in Ridgecrest, we brought in grocery outlet, 2 hotels. Ross just opened up, 5 Below. We did Chipotle, second Starbucks, Habit Burgers. There's a Wendy's under construction right now. A lot of things, a lot of positive things, and over time. And so it's something that I've been really fortunate to have worked with them. But the city's really appreciated it, and the people who live there really have appreciated that. So we're going to again look at doing some marketing and working with Craig and some of the city staff and putting together some marketing packets to go after potential retailers and restaurants. We have a lot of relationships with developers, site selectors, reps for retailers, real estate professionals, and we're going to want to really understand the marketplace here. And then I've been doing this. I worked for cities in California for 23.5 years, and I've been with HDL for almost 12 years. And so I've been doing this for a while, and it's something that I think it's a combination of us kind of helping and working with city staff and with council members and other folks to try to make some of these things happen. We also participate in a number of International Council of Shopping Center events. There's a big one in Las Vegas in May. This will be the 32nd year I've gone to that one. There's one in Monterey that's in March. It's coming up. There's one in San Diego that's in October. So these are trade events that will set up meetings and try to look at potential opportunities for Taft. Work with the real estate people for those companies and try to. They're kind of it's a little bit like speed dating. Try to get your foot in the door, tell your story, paint your picture. I know Craig's been on a lot of them. You don't usually do so many deals there, but you want to get your foot in the door, and it takes some time to do it. But you want to paint that picture and tell that story of why Taft would be a good fit for a potential retailer or a restaurant. So with that retail traction support services, that's done on an hourly basis with a not to exceed number, and so there's the hourly rates. So altogether for Task 1 and Task 2, it's a not to exceed amount of $45,000. A little bit about us, our team. I think we've got now 6 people on there. We have a total of 104 years experience working in economic and community development. Myself and my 3 senior advisors all worked a long time for cities. I was the community and economic development director for the last 2 cities I worked in before I retired, and then I went to work for HDL almost 12 years ago. So we have a tremendous amount of experience. Having done this for a long time, and again, we've done work for 32 California cities in the last 11 years. Here's just some of the logos of some of the businesses that and some of these we brought into multiple different cities. Looking at so we've actually had help facilitate 90 transactions for retailers, for restaurants, and that generates about $5 million annually in new sales tax for those cities. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, gentlemen.
Great.
Open a mic. Anybody have any questions?
I'll open up the mic.
Okay.
Okay, Taft is kind of a unique city by itself and stuff, but there's been some new legislature where we can get more permitting for wells and stuff that will bring in a lot of different opportunities. Nothing's guaranteed, but there's opportunities out there. But when you go out there to recruit businesses and stuff, would that be a part of your deal that we need businesses that we need, as far as just don't open the store up and don't sell things that are not going to move or too high, but also opportunities to service the oil companies the wells have maintenance and stuff and different opportunities there. We do also don't have a lot of vacancies in our city. We could sure use some housing. We got land here, we have a tract there could be built on. We could use some apartments and stuff in this town here for workforce housing and apartments for the workers and stuff. Those are just opportunities that we have, along with bringing in like different opportunities you bring in different storefronts and stuff. Because the more houses or demographics that we have, the more it draws more opportunities here from other franchises coming in and businesses that come here. And then if the oil fields and stuff opening up, there's opportunities there on that fold for the restaurants. And I'm pretty positive things about our city. About California, I'm not so positive. But, you know, in our city, I'm hyped up on it, and I think we can offer a great service. We've got great people here, because not only we're like a magnet. You're going to get people from Cuyama, all west of here, Derby Acres, but Valley and Destin Acres and borderline Bakersfield come here. So we're in a kind of a good spot. The only thing we don't have, unfortunately, is a railroad or a good highway for transportation. That's the only thing that could hurt us a little bit there. But I see a lot of opportunity, but it's how do you explain it to get them to come here or look at us? Get some builders and construction companies that come here to attract it. You know, there's things that would be my concern.
Yeah, so I think we're going to try to pull together all that information, try to paint that picture on why we think this would be a good opportunity. I think if you're able to build more housing, that's all a plus. I mean, you're bringing in more consumer dollars there. But when we look at the trade area, it's not going to be just Taft. We're going to look at that greater trade area. We're going to go out 15, 20-minute drive times. You know, no one looks. You want to look beyond your city borders, and you want to pull those people in too. That's a big part of what Ridgecrest does. They pull people from 15, 20 minutes away that are coming in there and they're spending their money there in Ridgecrest. And I think you have that same opportunity to do that here in Taft.
I'd like to add too that our crime rate, we have a little bit of crime, but it's petty stuff. You know, we don't have a major crime or major murders or none of that stuff. So we're a safe town. You know, it's like almost like Mayberry. Watch Andy Griffith, but you know, it's a nice little community and service clubs and everything we have here. So I just want to brag on that.
Now, those are all positive things that we're going to want to try to use when we paint that picture and try to tell that story.
Councilman Waldrop, you have any questions, sir?
You know, it would be really nice if we get one or even two of these stores that come in here. That'd be great, and we could work with them naturally to put some sugar there, and that would really be a plus. Plus, if my suggestion on one of the things we need here really bad, that's a steakhouse. It's bad we need it, and I'd be there quite often. But otherwise, you never know what's going to work until you try it. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Councilman Chavera.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, we need this insight. We need this information. So you talked about leakage analysis and possible retailers, and you talked about your experience here today. Do you have any information based on those two, just on your recent experience so far?
You know, I think we're going to want to spend some time. Just, you know, I haven't been up here since 2019, so I think as I drove around, you know, a lot hasn't changed, but some has changed. So I think we just want to kind of really, I spent some time putting a lot of notes in who's here, who's not here, who I think would be good fits. But as we start doing that market analytics, we're going to kind of lay a foundation there. And so a lot of these retailers and restaurants, we work with them all over the state. So we know kind of where they want to be, what kind of trade areas they want to be in, those that are active and expanding. And again, we're going to try to make that match. It's you know, it's still early, but we're going to go ahead and really understand what this community is all about, and then we'll be able to tell that story.
Great. Now, you mentioned that you want to figure out who the community is. How exactly do you guys go about doing this?
You know, we're going to work with the city manager and just gain a lot of that insight. I know when I ran here today, I ran by the Chamber of Commerce. Unfortunately, that was closed today. I would have liked to have gone there and talked to them a little bit. Is your Chamber of Commerce active or not active? Yeah. So I think they can be a real asset, and so we want to pick their brain a little bit on some of the businesses that are doing good here, and what they think are some of the opportunities, and we want to work with them. And so, you know, the other thing that we have is my company does sales tax consulting for about 420 cities in the state of California. We're the biggest consultant doing sales tax in California. Our database, I have access to 97% of every business in California that makes sales tax. And so, you know, when we're looking at those kind of good fits, we understand what they're doing in other communities. So we're going to look at comparable cities to Taft and see, do they have locations there? How are they doing? What's their sales tax? That's all part of telling that story. There's no other consultant in California that has that database that we have. That's a huge tool that I use.
Just a couple more questions.
Sure.
So you state here that that you guys helped facilitate these 90 retail restaurants. Based on your knowledge, are those restaurants, are those retailers still in existence in those communities, or have they closed down?
None of them have closed down.
Good. And as far as timeline, what kind of timeline do you think you have to come up with this information?
It's, you know, I think we're going to take the next couple of months to pull this stuff together. My goal is to try to have some meetings at the ICS conference in Monterey, which is, I think it's the third or fourth week in March. And so I'd like to have some meetings scheduled with some potential fits and kind of get our foot in the door and start that dialogue and conversation. And then we'll follow up. I'll do some more meetings in Las Vegas in May, which is it's a huge event. At the one in Las Vegas, I usually end up doing 30 meetings in about a day and a half. And so they're like pretty rapid fire. And I'm doing them for a number of different cities. But those would be the first two that we would kind of go after. And again, you don't get deals there. You try to get your foot in the door and start that conversation. We also have to work with the people that own these centers and these buildings, and they've got real estate people too. So we're going to try to work with them, and I think we've got some data and some analysis and market analytics that a lot of the other people don't have, and so I think we're going to try to work with them. It's their property. We need to work with them, but usually when they understand that they're not paying me or my company anything, we're just there to help them. It's usually a pretty good fit.
Well, excellent. Hey, we appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to this information and working with you. So again, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, Barry, I had one question. A couple of them have been asked, but the question is, at what point in time are you going to come back before the city council and apprise us of just exactly what you found? Is it going to be after the meetings, after Las Vegas, prior to? Because I know this is not to exceed by the hour,
Yeah.
programmed into your timeline. When do you anticipate coming back before the council so you can fill us in?
Yeah, I think it probably would be early fall, late summer, and after we have those two events and a chance to follow up, and then we can kind of give you some of our thoughts and ideas, and then as we get ready to go to the one in San Diego, which is in the end of September.
Okay.
So I think we'll have some feedback, we'll have some thoughts, and we can share those with you, and then we can kind of tell you where we want to go.
Obviously, through the course of that, I mean, our city manager will keep
Yep.
us posted because you'll be working along with him. So that's all I have. I want to thank you very much for coming before us. I want to thank you for being a part of City of Taft moving forward, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, next up, we have another study session. This time it's a presentation by Richard Chapman with Current Economic Development Corporation. Richard, what a pleasure to have you here, my friend.
My pleasure, 100%. Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Very excited to be here today. I have my props with me, so I wanted to basically talk about the city of Taft and obviously optimism as well as obviously some realism. We're all excited about the passage of SB 237, but also what does that mean in the short term as well as medium to long term. And I was actually looking, when Barry was speaking, the trade area, 30-minute drive time from downtown is 100,000 people live. So I think you're getting obviously part of maybe West Bakersfield, but that number is just gonna go up dramatically with the number of projects around West Kern County. And the vacancy rate, as we talked, homeowner vacancy rate, I was looking at, we have a Jobs EQ platform, is 0%. So we definitely need new houses. It's kind of like unemployment. You don't want, if you have full employment, then that means employers can't hire.
Right.
So there's that happy medium, right? Where you want some folks that are still looking for jobs and as well as the employers able to have more than 1 or 2 resumes for opening. So honored to be here today, and just I'll go through my presentation as it impacts economic development throughout the region. Kern EDC was started in 1987, 88, which you may remember, I think as Les Clark says, Les Clark Sr., tumbleweeds were going through the various downtowns, oil's at $10 a barrel, and commodities, all ag commodities are pretty much at an all-time low. That was a time of crisis. The community leaders in the region got together and said, how do we up our game? How do we fight for jobs? And I want to make it clear, 80% of all jobs in any economy are from companies already here. Yes, we're going to talk about recruitment, but retention is also important. If your local companies aren't happy, they're the ones that are growing at maybe 5 to 10 folks at a time. It doesn't make headlines, but they're the ones also telling companies that are looking to come here, this is a great place to do business. So we want to make sure, we call it business retention expansion. We want to make sure the companies in Taft are happy here. Obviously, we have a wonderful time working with your city manager and his team. Very responsive. We're going to talk about how communities, you have in our publication, Taft is open for business. I like that. You're saying welcome. We got the welcome mat. Also, we talked about how you promote to opportunities, and much like Tehachapi, you need to list the pads that are open, available. When you go to ICSC, you just don't say come here, but you say, hey, here are the pads, commercial pads. Oh, by the way, Grocery Outlet and others, what are their sales per square feet? Because guess what? Those companies they know how much is spent in Taft at these various retailers. And so that data gives them the power to decide where to go and where not to go. But if we're talking about a trade area of 100,000, I think that's really powerful. And we'll talk about some of the projects around. So we promote Kern County as a great place to basically live, work, and play. And a lot of our residents do not know these facts. In fact, Kern County does not have a business journal. I think we're the largest city region in the country without a business journal. Fresno has a 40-page weekly. So our organization, we take it upon ourselves to help tell the story. We have a Where Business is Boundless series that gets about 20,000 views. We will be profiling the city of Taft later this year, and tell our audience why they should, understand the story of Taft's and resilience, right? It's also future growth, but resilience. And so here's the ways that we promote to our residents, but also, of course, folks looking to invest in Kern County. Some of the projects we worked with, we would love to add some in Taft. We have mainly industrial projects. Of course, we'll work with you on the retail side. We do have block level data on every community in Kern County, the demographics, the economics. But we've had a significant number of projects that are creating family wage jobs in industrial, from Cal Dairy's the most advanced dairy manufacturing plant in the world. That's in Bakersfield. Obviously, Hard Rock is a game changer, no pun intended. And we would love to see, I know Placer AI is a great platform to see how many people that go to the casino come to Taft. We need to see that cross-pollination, right? we have that data will be available and is available, much like lightning in a bottle, where you have 25,000 people come to Lake Buena Vista. How many of those folks came to Taft? The Raceway, we have Kevin Harvick Classic coming up. 80% of people are from outside the county. That's new money, so we need to really track that new money and how many eyeballs are coming into your community. And I'll talk about how, especially on the industrial side, what we always recommend cities to do. First steel mill in 50 years is coming to Kern County. So there's a lot of firsts that we're seeing, but we want those first in Taft. We host the West Coast's largest energy summit, right? We know that we are the #1 producer of renewable energy and top 15 for oil and gas. So wanted to talk, of course, about oil and gas. It's obviously, I don't have to tell you all, but it is in terms of highest wage per industry sector, it's up there, over $90,000. Not just wages, but obviously tax base. And so the roads, education, public services, oil and gas's funding is the #1 funder by far, as well as for the state tax revenue. I think it's 5%. And so we're looking at that data and how has the decrease in production over, I think, the last 7 to 8 years. We went from the #1 county in the country to number 14 for oil production over the last 8 to 9 years, 7, 8 years. And so we try to communicate the impact of this industry, not just obviously fueling your car, but also in everyday products, medical, eyeglasses, you name it. And so a lot of times even our residents aren't aware of that. But we are about 75% of the state's oil production. Now what we see is a real change in these numbers. California as a state produces 300,000 barrels a day. And I'll talk about what the demand is. But you can see New Mexico's this rising star, right? And you do hear, and I'm sure you all know, of friends, relatives, acquaintances that have gone to New Mexico. The investment has gone to New Mexico and triple, in fact, since 2019 in terms of production. Texas is pretty obviously been #1 state. When they say that we're a net exporter, that's the country, not California, right? Because what we've seen is a dramatic downturn in local production. We have another session. We can go through all the reasons, which I know, again, you are aware. But we went from about 5% of our sources being foreign to 77%, right? Alaska will be 0 one day. Their production continues to decline for various reasons. But you can see our reliance is really on overseas oil. And this is something we try to communicate, basically why we should prefer local product, right? One factoid said 16 oil tankers produce more CO2 emissions than all the world's cars. But really, it's the fact that we are losing local jobs, favoring overseas production. And so we talk about human rights records. We talk about, as well as environmental rights records of these countries. But this is one of the fact sheets that we put out. And we seem to see things have gone, pendulums are shifting, as we talk about, with SB 237. We know the press conference at the Board of Soups several months ago. So this is wonderful that we are moving to what the 2,000 permit threshold. But what I wanted to look at was over the years, right, how much of our terms of assessed value from the oil and gas industry has fluctuated. And we can see pretty much it hit its peak in 2001, and I track it against oil prices, right? Because there is a correlation between GDP growth and oil prices in our region. But you can see, even though oil prices in 2021 were over 100, our assessed values have not really, did not bounce back. So the question is, what will happen in the next 3 to 4 years? Now we're going to be able to have permits, but what will that look like? How will that impact employment? I believe it will impact assessed values. But the question is employment. Will be 5, 10%. That would be great. We have about 13,000 direct jobs in oil and gas, and then the indirect induced is another 13,000. So that will have an impact. But we believe, I'm not an economist, but we believe that, that could be a marginal gain in employment. And of course, we've seen what's happened. This is for the state, but, vast majority, 80% plus, are in Kern County. So we pretty much have seen this significant drop to almost zero. I think the last couple of years it was around 100 or 100 total or 50. And now you can see in 2019 where there was, or excuse me, 2009, well, there was a drop. Why? Because oil was pretty much one of the all-time lows. But again, the fact is that we will see these permit numbers increase significantly. So that is a positive, right? Because new investment into oil and gas produce significant indirect and induced effect on our community. Now, we want to recruit companies, right, to Taft. What do communities have to do to prepare? You can say we're open for business, which is wonderful, but you really have to have, and I'll talk about receptive audience. The team, like Craig and the council, have always been very open and respond ASAP to inquiries. But this is basically the deck we're given: site selection, energy is driving nationwide. The ability to secure projects. Do we have that availability? Can we plug and play? We have sites in Kern County that plug and play, be it Tejon, be it the Wonderful. So can we have that in Taft? Can we have these sites, especially industrial, where we primarily work in? Can we have, because we have a record number of manufacturers looking to come to Kern. Before it was primarily distribution companies. But think about your community, how well you do. And I think really well, right? I think Taft is an A, I believe, in most of these areas. As we said, skilled labor, well, we have folks, and as I said, the trade area is 100,000. The Pacific Steel Project in Mojave, they're hiring 400 people, but guess what? A lot of them are going to come from Bakersfield, maybe Taft. They will drive that 1 hour because you're going to have a 70,000 plus job. Same for logistics in the community. Now, energy costs and others, that's something, unfortunately, we have the third highest cost in the country. A lot of that is basically out of our control. But I'm very optimistic on Kern County's ability to attract investment. We currently have about 25 active projects, primarily manufacturing, representing about $6 to $7 billion dollars of cap investment and several thousand jobs. But again, we have to have those sites that are ready. Spec buildings are great. But guess what? They're not. We only have 3% vacancy rate in the county industrial. Can we get a building that's ready to go? So this is something that we love to work with you all on as we enhance a region's profile. And that's why I want to talk about NIMBYisms as I wrap this up. We all know what NIMBY means, right? Not in my backyard. Do we know what bananas mean?
Build absolutely nothing anytime or anywhere.
Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anybody. So this is, can you imagine, there are places now that, and I didn't even have retail, I'm sure retail would be on there, but people are chasing away investment, and we're seeing this in the up north of the valley. I won't name communities outside Kern County where warehouses now are facing unprecedented challenges. But Kern County has always done things smart. We have buffer zones, right? You can't build a warehouse over 250,000 square feet in Riverside unless you meet certain requirements, setbacks. We all know what setbacks are. But this is the thing that Kern County and Taft, we need to show that we don't have the bananas or the NIMBYs. Think about Hard Rock. Think about Pacific Steel. Basically had no opposition, right? No organized opposition. Think about these huge projects. We're talking about projects here, maybe 50 to 100,000 plus square feet. So that's what business want. Time is money. If they're up against a significant portion of the community against it, then they'll look elsewhere. So this is something we need to promote, obviously retail, but again, to the industrial clients that we have. We actually kicked off last year our West Kern Economic Alliance was at Taft College. And again, talk about a gym you have, Taft College, right? You have an educational institution. Not many communities in Kern County have, again, what you have, your portfolio. So sell that ability, right? Sell that ability to tap an industry. They educate the next generation. We do have the West Kern Economic Alliance. We're meeting in Taft. Thanks for hosting us. That is all 8 communities in West Kern about best practices, but also we have other businesses, educators, seeing what the communities are doing. But Taft will have the opening as the host community to present to that group on March the 11th. And I think that is my presentation. Thank you, Mayor and members of the council.
Well, thank you, Richard. Thanks again for coming and bringing your wisdom and experience as well as your enthusiasm. Everybody knows that you are the head cheerleader for the entire valley and Kern County, and you do a great job. Funny feeling these guys have some questions for you, so I'm going to start with Councilman Shavera.
No, we appreciate your time. You know, you're always enthusiastic, and we appreciate that. I think what I really enjoy is the idea that Taft College is holding this, the West Kern Economic Alliance. And I urge the community to come and attend this. And that way, if you guys have any questions or concerns, this is an opportunity to have this conversation with Mr. Chapman. But again, I appreciate your time, buddy.
Well, thank you, Councilman. And this is the thing, I've been at the EDC almost 20 years. And when I started, the knock on us was, what about East Kern? You're a West Kern centric group. So guess what? We created the East Kern Economic Alliance, which has been going strong for 19 years. But realizing, well, what about all the West Kern communities? Are they aware of the partnerships, businesses in their backyard? So the beauty of the West and East Kern groups working in tandem, working in concert, but also your communities like yours being privy to some of the projects in your backyard or over the hill. So we appreciate you all hosting this. And yes, if anybody, it's open to come on, come off. If there's anybody that you'd like us to add to the list, we would love to invite them.
All right, very good. Councilman Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. Richard, I've known you for a long time and stuff. And we have a lot of discussions about our cities and things. What do you see possibility of those 2,000 permits we're getting a year from to our Kern County? How much of an impact you think it could? I know you can't have a figure, but what would be a range of impact to help Taft as a city and as a district as far as the sphere of influence would have?
Right, and I would mention Cal State University Bakersfield, their economist, Dr. Micheka, is going to release in the next week or two economic development contribution to oil, gas in Kern County. So he's the economist. I'm an economic developer, but I basically, you know, looking at SB 237, I think the jury's still out, right? But we see there's healthy permit activity. The question for you all is what percentage of the wells are in Taft, right? Obviously, if outside the community, it will still benefit in terms of the folks coming in. I mean, I would estimate, again, assessed values, but employment, we're at 13,000. So perhaps a 5 or 10%, but that's, I'm just guessing in terms of, could we have an employment increase? But again, then you weigh in the acquisition, you know, a recent acquisition of CRC acquiring Berry in terms of how overall employment in the industry. Automation too, right? Jobs required on sites. But the thing is now we at least have the ability to say you can get the permit. We know we have the strictest regs in the world, so we thought that would be enough to allow us to get the permit. But now we do have that ability. But I think the biggest, frankly, oil has to be over $80 or $80 to $100 to really create that significant employment uptick. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, but I think we have to push 80 to 100 to have that, you know, significant incremental difference in employment.
Okay, saying that we get that $80 or $100 or whatever dollar figure you're talking about, what would be the demographic as far as how many, if they got that and oil at that price, and the benefit to our city, to get the developers here, how many
Yes.
jobs would that produce here theoretically that would produce that, well, you need at least 2,000 more housing, 1,000 more housing,
Well,
or
you already
whatever
reached the
number?
threshold with the 0% vacancy rate, right? So you already have, and then a lot of your workers come here and they go back, to Bakersfield. So how do we keep, you're this community that's booming in the day and then at night, right? Some communities are the bedroom communities, and you guys are actually, folks are coming in, but leaving at night. So, I mean, obviously look at even, how do we enhance the healthcare infrastructure? We need to push that up to 10, 15,000, right? We talk about retail. We got that retail, even city specific that population threshold has to, push the 10 to 15,000. I mean, Ridgecrest is at like 25,000. And they're pretty much, they have the base, which is billions of dollars of economic activity. So that's been what we see as spawning retail in that area. But how do we create that economic engine beyond just a couple 1,000 new jobs? And then the diversification is happening, correct? I mean, you have education jobs, but we need to get that industrial corridor, which is manufacturing. We need to build upon that, which is now we're industrial. We have cold storage facilities going. There's one near at Tahone. We have Pacific Steel. How does Taft get their Pacific Steel? Because that's the game changer.
Well, the oil companies, they like to see, well, in Taft, we got excessive labor and stuff to be able to work in the oil fields. But we really don't have that at this time. We have a few, because the oil field's been down for so long. A lot of them went to Texas and other states. So we're down a lot in workers. So in order for the oil companies to see and look at Taft, because we're in a prime spot for the wells and stuff for development and everything, but we need workers to come here. But how can they come here without housing? So we promote the housing, apartments and stuff here, get the demographics that we have the people here in order to supply the workforce for the oil companies.
Well, that's why if we can get the industrial pads to support manufacturing, then I believe we have to build. That's our number one. We have a manufacturing alliance of Kern. We host that every month, and we're seeing that sector, I think, will be the next generation to build, and the transferability of skills. Somebody working in the oil and gas can move into a manufacturing capacity. So I would that's part of that diversification strategy.
So as of now, how much permits have already been handed out to Kern County so far?
Pardon me?
How many permits now have we gotten
I
so
heard
far?
the three. Was it three? Well, was it 300?
It's, last I checked, there's 344
Okay.
total put out. Some of those are redrills, some are abandonments, P&As. Of the 344, 126, I think, are actually new drills. But that information is at least 2 weeks old. And they were going to put on some additional staff because some of the permit applications were incomplete, and it's kind of a new day. So they're going to try to streamline that process. But there are permits being issued, and there is interest. And you will see, I believe, in this area that the infill drilling activity is going to pick up, is going to be Simrick, Midway, Sunset, actually south of the city of Taft as well. So I think that's where the bulk of it's going to be. It's still California. You still can't frack. BV nose is out until such time as we deal with that. But there'll also be increased activity in the Kern River area. But mostly it's infield drilling. And infield drilling it's not wildcatting, it's not greenfield, and it's absolutely necessary. We know where the oil is, and we know what we need to do in order to fight the decline. They're mature reservoirs. It's no secret to anybody producing oil in this valley. So the first most important step was codification of our countywide recirculated EIR. There's additional steps for deregulation that need to take place, and this fight is not over. I mean, the struggle continues, and we will keep moving that way.
And Councilmember Cryer, there is data that we are privy to that shows for every $1 million in new investment, how many jobs. I think it's 5.3. So the proof will be in the pudding 6 months to a year out. We will know how much new investment came in. I think we'll be able to track that. Because now we say, come on in investment, but is it in New Mexico? Is it overseas? So I think that 6 to 12 months from now, the data that you're looking for will at least have something in writing.
Well, we're in our second month. If we have, say, 300 so far, it'd be a snowball effect. And another thing too, we got a lot of wildcats here in Taft. You know, we're talking about wildcatting, but a lot of feral cats. But,
well, that's the thing, right? You're open for business, so
Yeah.
I look forward to coming back at a later date and having you all on our Where Business is Boundless show.
Logistically, as far as when we get going, as far as new businesses coming into town, like oil field construction, maybe moving to town, or reviving the older ones here in town, they'd be more productive. Do you see that to rise significantly?
Yeah,
or
I mean, the indirect, and think about like if we had a refinery, it's a multiplier effect of 8. That means, or 9, that for every 1 job on site, you have 8 jobs in the community. So that is the key, getting you industries that have high multipliers, not just direct, but indirect and induced. You know, the money spent by the workers in restaurants, you know, you name it, as well as the suppliers. So yes, right, it will not just be 1 on site, but it will have that ripple effect into your economy. So that's why I think in 6, as you said, 6 months, we will be able to. And again, think about look at the activity around your area, not just in oil and gas, but even tourism with the Hard Rock casino and a casino. We're going to be able to see. We can track pretty much where these folks are going once they stop at the casino. The hotel, that's the proposed next phase, I think will also add more people coming into this region and visiting Taft and money staying in Taft. That's what we want, right?
That would be nice. I just like to see for our businesses and stuff we have in town and our different districts we have, you know, our rec district and our hospital and stuff. Is there hope that we're getting new money coming in and the business that we have here as far as restaurants and stores and stuff, that they can hang on longer? Hey, there's help on the way, you know, for encouragement. I know it's not going to be today or tomorrow, but, you know, it's going to hit here sometime.
I think we'll see with the casino, I think what you're seeing. But obviously you want something, and not just that, but in closer proximity. But getting folks to stay in the community for 4 or 5 days with the RV, you know, coming, and so I think I would love to find out you know, what would the numbers going to be like in 2026 for these for retail sales. We're going to have it right. Leakage should be starting to drop, but those are the data. That's the data that I'm looking forward to coming out. So in the next by the next meeting that we can present. And I'm not sure, when are you going to present, Barry? When are you presenting the report?
Right off the bat with the first discussion, probably the end of summer, early.
Okay. So perhaps I could have a repeat visit.
You're always welcome here. Always welcome here, Richard. That's fat.
Well, November 18th, along with Councilmember Cryer, I know, Mayor, you presented at the summit, November 18th is the 20th annual Kern County Energy Summit. And this topic that was brought up today is, of course, going to be the most germane at that 20th summit. So again, that will be in about eight months. So we're cautiously optimistic.
We'll have some hard data then. And one of the critical components, like you talked about, Richard, is we don't suffer from the hypocrisy of NIMBYism on the west side. We don't. We are business friendly. We are industry friendly. And we are open-minded about those things.
Well, and I should say, Mayor, how we sell this area, it's not up, but turnover, work ethic. And we have some of the highest productivity rates. Definitely, the U.S. and we run circles around our productivity rates, the average per employee, and then turnover rates. Looking at logistics especially, we're the envy of the state. Riverside has, I think, that's the big challenge for them, losing talent. And we retain talent. We pay well, we retain talent, and retraining is such an expensive endeavor. So that's a testament to the city of Taft. We're work hard, we don't brag much, just get the job done.
That's it.
Thank you, Richard. For me, I'm done.
Thank you,
I
Councilman.
appreciate your,
Councilman Waldrop, do you have anything for Richard?
Well, it's pretty much been said, but seeing all the traffic going and coming from just Taft Highway to Bakersfield, and we got all these side streets, there's a lot of people coming and going to work already.
That's what I noticed.
And something's going on, so I'm hoping they take an interest, a lot of these people back here seeing what's happening. And as we go down the road, it's going to improve, and maybe we'll never get back to what I think is like the 70s. That was a booming time. Boom,
Well, we
boom,
went
boom.
70s, and then we had the 80s kind of buzz, and we went back
Yeah.
up again. But yeah, let's look at traffic counts. We have that,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Let's see
good.
the
It's
traffic
good.
counts
And that-
over the last year.
I depend on oil.
Okay.
My business, mostly, because I got a lot of the oil companies coming in and buying big stuff, and there's where you make the money, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm gonna hang on. I don't care how long it takes.
Well, we're just getting started with the advent of Senate Bill 237, the ability to issue permits, bringing talent back into the area, like you brought up. Lifting costs are lifting costs. And you got to be able to profit when you lift a barrel of oil out of the ground. It's a global commodity. And I believe that right now it needs to be $80 or $90 a barrel. And the fact of the matter is, when one looks at the replacement of reserves on a global scale and global consumption, right now, today, we are globally consuming more oil than we have ever consumed in the history of mankind. During COVID, the ridiculous days of COVID, it got so bad that I think British Petroleum said that BP stands for Beyond Petroleum. And there was peak use was behind us and all this other kind of rigmarole. The fact of the matter is, people are going back to work, and people are abandoning these fantasies in favor of economic realities. We will be dependent upon hydrocarbons
Yes.
long past 2050. Everything else is smoke and mirrors crap. So we have gone through that, and we have got to continue to provide the foundation, the critical foundation for modern quality of life. What sets us apart from the third world is ready access to abundant, affordable energy. Pretty simple. That's 1 billion people in the face of the planet. 7 billion aren't that fortunate. So you're right. We're open for business. Kern County is the land of cowboys, calluses, and common sense. So you just bring them in here. We'll put them to work.
Well, thank you, Mayor. We'll have to put that on a bumper sticker.
You do that. You can use that.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Richard. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number 2, citizens request public comments. And we have none, so we'll move right into council statements, non-action. Councilman Waldrop, begin with you this evening, sir.
Well, the wind's blowing pretty good, blowing all that trash everywhere, but some places it cleans your yard, and my place is getting rid of a lot of it, going to the neighbors or something. But a few of us is cleaning those, mowing those things down, and I understand some of them not doing it right now because it's still, we're getting wet, but I'm gonna keep preaching it until it gets the time, but that's all I got to say, Mayor.
All right. Richard, you drive careful. See you next time. All right, Councilman Chavera.
Yes, sir, just a couple items. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Taft High's soccer coach and team. They are the SSL, we're talking about the boys team, but they are the SSL champions, first time in history. In addition, they won their first playoff game, and maybe Doug can help me. I think tomorrow they have their second game. Doug, am I right? And it's here at home, correct?
Yeah, 6 o'clock in Martin Memorial Stadium.
6 o'clock. And I encourage us to go and attend the game and enjoy each other's company and help cheer those boys on. Secondly, I just want to reiterate this West Kern Economic Alliance. a lot of folks interested in our local economy. This is an opportunity right here to get involved, and if you've got questions or concerns, here's your platform. Number three, again, just to build off of the risks or the concerns about our weather, make sure that we're safeguarding our homes from falling debris. In addition, make sure that we're driving safely in this wind. And then, actually, that's all I have. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Councilman Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, Taft is open for business, but it seems like the state is closing for business. And it's getting more difficult. You know, I'm preaching a little bit to have a business in California and stuff, but we're here, we want it. And our fuel costs, don't be surprised, it'll be creeping up, slowly but creeping up. And at some point, it's going to be a jump. And people wonder, why has that happened? Well, we've had one-party system here in California in all our branches of government for the past 20-plus years, and no changes, but the other party gets blamed for all the problems. That's the sad part about it. On there, we just need a change. What make our state a better state? Make our state where we can live, where we can afford, and have jobs and raise a family. There's so many things that we need for our state to do to improve. Keep our energy costs, keep our businesses here, open some refineries. Maybe we need another energy plants to make electricity. What can we do to make our state a better state and more quality and energy efficient? But we're neglecting all that. Everybody wants freebies. What can I get? What can we get? Why want to work for? Why work when I get this from the government? Why do this where the state guarantees that? But somebody's got to pay for it. And people who are productive are slowly, if not rapidly, leaving California to go to other states where it's more reasonable, less taxes, and energy costs and utility costs is much reasonable. We need to reverse it and change it and get California more sensible again. And that's one of the things I just want to say on there. But I keep saying it, is that we're blessed with our community we have here. And we have a lot of likenesses of everything and want to make our town. We have a great council here, having the same ideas, want to make this place better. But we need people to participate in our local government, to be here and be strong. If not, you know, write letters, good, bad, or ugly. Communicate to us to know what direction, what your concerns are, what would you like for us to do, what business do you want. Come to these different venues that we have seminars and stuff here about the oil industry and marketing. And there's so many opportunities here that we just need participation. People get involved. And this is one step right here. And hopefully it'll ignite some passion and get more cooperation if people attend to it. Otherwise, we're going to be talking and not going to go nowhere. But we need input from the public. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. A lot of discussion going on, a couple of great presentations, and obviously we work hard, and everybody works hard to try to diversify our economy. We've been working on it for a very long time. Our city manager works on that every single day. And heaven knows, like Richard said, we want to be open for business. We are open for business. Affordability in the state of California is an all-time low. Affordability. They say we have a housing affordability crisis. If you own a house in the state of California, it is a crisis just trying to hang on to it with ever-increasing costs. Well, the same is true for vehicles. And there's something that just happened this year, and I wasn't aware of. I got to reading about it, so I just want to help people out there understand what's going to happen when you open your vehicle registration bill coming from the DMV this year. 3 things have conspired to make it far more expensive, and there's a phrase for that. It's called fee stacking. One fee by itself, one assembly bill by itself seems kind of inconspicuous, just sits over there, no big deal. But then you stack them one atop of the other, one atop the other, and next thing you know, it becomes significant. So what happened to your registration in the state of California, car registration, in 2026. First off, there's a new clean vehicle surcharge on your vehicle registration. Basically what that means is the older your vehicle is, the lower the tier motor. And the state of California thinks you need to pay for that. So if you have an older vehicle and it's a tier 2 or a tier 3, you're going to pay up to an additional $250 a year. If you have a plug-in EV, you get a free pass. Go figure. The surcharge is separate from the existing clean vehicle rebate program and does not fund consumer rebates. Instead, revenues flow directly into Caltrans' low-emission vehicle infrastructure program, supporting fast-charging corridor development along I-5, the 101, and the 99. According to the California Air Resources Board, the program aims to install 12,000 new high-powered DC fast chargers by 2028. 12,000. That at a time when Elon Musk is going to quit producing the Tesla S and the Tesla X, both of them, because he says people who want them basically have them already, and he's going to repurpose that factory in the state of California to build robots. Item number 2, the DMV updated its clean vehicle valuation model. You remember when you were paying your registrations, and each year your vehicle got a little bit older, so it was worth a little bit less money. So you knew that your registration was going to go down. Well, California thought, well, that's not necessarily true, especially since we haven't recovered from COVID regarding the amount of good, clean, used vehicles that are out there. So some of the vehicles out there that retain their value better than others, like the Honda Accord and the Toyota Camry, you could very well find that the value of it last year, based on the state of California, is less than the value this year. So it's a year older and it's got 15,000 more miles on it, but the state of California thinks it's worth more money, so you're going to pay more money on your registration. That's the second item. Third is the local transportation funding mandates added county level fees. This is another Senate Bill, Senate Bill 1260, passed in September of 2024. All 58 California counties are required to implement a local transportation improvement fee, an LTIF, by January 2026. And they vary by county. It could be Los Angeles at $87.50, Santa Clara $62, Riverside $44, Fresno $51. By itself, that doesn't sound like a lot of money. But if you add those other two, then all of a sudden it turns into something. So here's your real-world impact mini case study. Consider Maria R., a school counselor in San Diego who drives a 2019 Toyota Camry LE. Her 2025 registration total was $312.75. That was last year. Her 2026 renewal notice, not $312.75, $589.20. That's one vehicle of 36 million vehicles in the state of California. Also, a big part of it, so we can build superchargers to charge in plug-in EVs. Of the 36 million registered vehicles in the state of California, 1.25 of them are plug-in EVs. So all the rest of us, we're going to pay, and we're going to pay a lot. That registration went from $312 to $589. So now this is where you figure out where it's really going. She appealed the clean vehicle surcharge, the $250, submitting her vehicle's emissions tablet and a CARB certification. DMV upheld the charge because it said, well, we really don't care that your vehicle is really clean. That doesn't matter. It's what it was designed to do. So they denied it. San Diego's LTIF had no exemption pathway for public employees. Ultimately, Maria opted to enroll her Camry in the state's Clean Vehicle Assistant Program, which offered up to $5,000 toward a qualifying used EV purchase. So she was forced to turn in her perfectly good Camry, take the $5,000 qualifying used EV, and turn her car into a plug-in EV, whether she liked it or not. That's the plan. That's the reason for all of it. That's the long game that the state of California is playing. Even though The plug-in EV mandate has been killed on a federal level. That's what's happening right here in the state of California. So when you open your vehicle registration and your vehicle is a year older and it has 15,000 more miles and your registration has doubled from last year, now you know why. Just wanted to share that with everybody because I didn't see it on the front page. Not sure how that escaped everybody's attention. Okay, that's all I have. So next up, Planning Commission report. Do we have a Planning Commission report this evening? Got a couple of planning commissioners.
Good evening. Only got one item to report on, and the Planning Commission would like to recommend the council approve the Planning Department to send the state an annual progress report on our housing element. This is a requirement of the state.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you very much. State has lots of requirements that they hand down to us, don't they?
Yes, yes, they do. The whole housing element is a state requirement.
State requirement. A lot of time and a lot of money and effort. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Next up, department reports for this evening. Do we have any department reports? None this evening. Next up, item number 6, city manager statement. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank Barry and Richard again for their presentation tonight. And we track certain things here at City Hall. One thing that current contract tracks is traffic counts. In the last 60 days, there has been more traffic in Taft. I'm sure you guys have noticed at certain times it seems to be industry-related traffic. Planning applications are up, business applications are up. So hopefully we're turning the page to something better than we've had in the last 10 years, and we'll be ready for it. So HDL, I think, will be helpful in providing some of the statistics we need for the industry folks when we attend ICSC. That's kind of, like you said, speed dating. You got like 5 minutes to tell your story. It's a different world, I'm telling you. And usually it takes multiple interactions before they call you back. So it's a constant battle. But anyway, just hopeful that we're turning the page.
All right, very good. Opportunity sounds like a wonderful thing. City Attorney statements. Jason?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement.
All right, thanks, sir. Future agenda requests this evening, gentlemen?
None.
Seeing none? All right, next up, consent calendar items 9 through 11. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? I don't see any hands going up, so those items are item number 9, the minutes for the February 3rd regularly scheduled meeting. Item number 10, the payment of bills, some $745,000 worth. Item number 11, the monthly report for Kern County Fire Station number 21, December 2025. Recommendation is receive and file the monthly report for December 2025 from Kern County Fire Station number 21 and find that the activity is not a project per the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, as set forth in Section 15060C3 and Section 15378 of the CEQA guidelines. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 9 through 11.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Shavira,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldrop,
Yes.
Mayor Nor.
Yes, and that passes on a 4-0 vote. Thank you, gentlemen. This concludes the open session portion of this evening's meeting. I want to thank everybody for attending and thank everybody out there in TV land. This is your government. Be sure and get involved. This council will be going into closed session for 3 items. Item A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Government Code Section 54956.9B, 2 undisclosed cases. Second item B, conference with real property negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager. Government Code Section 54956.8, 1 undisclosed parcel. Lastly, item C, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, Government Code Section 54957.6, all units. It's nasty out there, people. Be careful. Trees are being blown down onto power lines. If you lose power, don't go outside with your chainsaw. Call PG&E. They're the experts. All right. We're adjourned.